Good morning, everybody. How are you? It is so lovely to see you on a beautiful, beautiful summer's day down here in New Zealand for the very last Truly Myrtle podcast of the year. I'm Libby, and this is the Truly Myrtle podcast, and I am the designer at Truly Myrtle, and I'm also the founder of Wardrobe Toolbox. And every week I go live on YouTube and Facebook, and I chat to you, and I can already see you coming in the door, and it is so nice to see you. So welcome. How are you, everybody? Hi, Kim. Hi, Marina. It's lovely to all see you all here. It'd be a nice way to end the year to give me a little bit of a thumbs up on the YouTube channel so other people get to see it next year. It'd be so good. And if you want to catch me every week, then subscribe. That's what I have to say. So I've said it. Alrighty, everybody. It is an absolutely beautiful day down here in New Zealand, and I'm really tired today. You've taken the day off for your birthday today. Oh, happy birthday, Becky. It's so nice to see you. What is the date today? It's the 19th. I always like to know what date it is for people's birthdays. It's kind of a tricky birthday, isn't it, Becky? So close to Christmas. But my mum's is on Christmas Eve, so I think hers is probably one of the trickier ones. Hi, Lynn. Nice to see you. I wonder how you're feeling, Lynn. Hopefully better. Nice to see you. Oh, thank you. Marina, that's really nice of you. So, 2025, it's almost finished. And this is the last live podcast of the year. I'll just tell you now, shall I, what I'm doing? So I come almost every week, I think. It's not too many weeks that I miss when I'm doing something else, or I think I was sick once or twice in the year and I couldn't come. But most weeks I come almost every year and do a chat with you, and I really like it. And I really like sitting down and talking to you. It is so much fun. And I don't know, it's not very snazzy or anything, I think, the things I do, but it's just fun. I like hearing from you. I like seeing what you're working on. I don't know, it's just nice. I like a good old chat. So I do that almost every week. I'm thinking over January, I've planned to have a little bit of a holiday from the live podcast, but I'm not leaving you in the lurch. What I've done is I have spent the last couple of months recording some really, really good interviews. They're really fun with a variety of people that are going to surprise you and delight you all through January. So they start next week. On Boxing Day. So you'll have something, if you're just over it, you just want to sneak off and put your headphones in and pick up your device or whatever, and you just want to catch up with the Truly Myrtle podcast, it'll come out the same time next week on Boxing Day. At 10 o'clock, you'll have an interview, and it'll be me chatting to someone absolutely lovely. I had such fun doing all of these chats. So they run for 5 weeks. And so we've got 5 fantastic people, or 5 fantastic interviews for you to enjoy over that time. And everything will just, I hope technology works for me, but it's going to be really fun. I've called it the Summer of Yarn. We're having a Summer of Yarn because, as you are aware, I am in New Zealand and it's really getting quite warm here now. And so I thought, well, why not just dive into yarn? You know, it's so funny because I asked everybody in the mini mag the other week, what do you want to hear more about? I said, what do you want to hear more about? Do you want to hear more about how to modify patterns? Do you want to hear more about what did I say? I just said 4 things. One of them was, do you want to hear more about yarn and patterns together? And that was the least favorite. And I thought, you know, it's really funny because I think that's one of the most important topics. Yes, there's maths that we can learn and there's modifications we can make, but actually yarn and matching it with a pattern, but just knowing what the yarn is going to do, and then understanding how it's going to behave in the pattern we've chosen is massive, because we've got so many yarns to choose from now. So I thought, well, I'm just going to have a summer of yarn instead, and I'm going to talk to you all about different yarns. But I've actually taken it because I don't like to do things simply. I've decided I took it in a slightly different direction. So I've got all different ways of looking at yarn, and we're talking to farmers. I'm talking to a couple of dyers, and it's not just straight up dyer stuff. It's really interesting. I put one of the dyers on the spot, and I hope she's okay. I'm sure she's okay. She's very, very happy and cheerful. But she wrote something I thought was so thoughtful and interesting, and I wanted to talk about it with her. And so we did that. That was really good. Talked to another dyer about what do you love to knit versus what do you love to dye, and that was actually quite different, which was so interesting. So we talked about that. I've talked to someone about like knit-worthy yarn, and in particular socks. We got into socks, and then we've also got an interview all about what is happening in the yarn industry. Where are we going? What are our tastes? What are our preferences? What is basically, this person got out their crystal ball, and they are going to give us a forecast of what's happening in the yarn trends in the world, and that was really, really quite interesting. So they're all coming for you through January, the Summer of Yarn, and they will be appearing in on YouTube, and I'll put a post on Facebook, and I'll have a post on my Hangout, and there'll be a post on Facebook, and on my website things will go live, and on YouTube it'll all go live. Or technically it should all go live at the same time, but I will be like poised and checking, has it all gone live at the same time? I don't know. And then within 5 minutes, because assuming that it all goes live and I haven't got to race around, I've got 5 minutes, a mini mag will come out. So the mini mag date will change for those 5 weeks, and it will come out tomorrow. This week there'll be a normal mini mag tomorrow, but that'll be the last one on a Friday for a while. After that, in January, it'll be coming out on the Thursday with the podcast, so that you know what's happening, and I give you links to it and everything so you can watch it. So I think that it should be I'm really looking forward to it. I was a little rusty with the interviewing at the beginning. It's been quite a while since I've done an interview, and but I think I got better and better as they went along. And I don't know if you'll notice, because I did them out of order. I recorded them out of order. So you might not notice anything, but I noticed. My mum says I'm too hard on myself, but I noticed, but it did really reignite my love of interviewing. You know, I think I've secretly always wanted to be Kirsty Allsop. That's what I think I've always wanted to be. I just would like to tour the world, tour the country, talk to everybody about what they're making. And I think secretly that's probably what I would really love to do. So maybe when I'm retired, I'll go and tour the world and talk to people about what they're making. It'd be so much fun. But I'm thinking that if I can wrangle it, I would like to have more of these sort of interviews next year. We'll see. I'll give it a good bash. I also would like to just slow down a little bit next year. So I don't know how those two things go together. But I really, really enjoyed talking to people. I love picking their brains. I love asking them all the questions that I hope you want to ask them. I seem to ask quite simple questions as well. So I don't know. I like understanding things and really getting to the bottom of things. So the Summer of Yarn begins on Boxing Day. It'll run for 5 weeks. And I'll be back with you at the end of January live, just to carry on our chat like we were before. So that would be fun. All right, everybody, I can see all your chats in the comment. It's so nice to see you all. Oh my gosh, Maureen, you're an early morning swim at 7 o'clock. We've got a young guy staying with us. We've got all the kids at home now. Everybody's here and extras. So one of our oldest friends from the UK, their son has arrived to stay with us for the summer. He's 19. He's a really lovely boy, and he has very fond memories of us being in England. And he slots in nicely between my second and my third kids, but he's very fond of my son, and it's so nice having him here. And I was telling him the other day, because we've got a swimming pool, and he of course has come out of Britain, and the weather here is of course beautiful at the moment, apart from the day it was torrential rain. And I said to him, pretty soon you'll be getting up in the morning and diving straight into that pool. It's going to be so warm soon, so you're going to really enjoy it. And I think he will. I think he's loving having the pool in the background. Okie doke, what else can I see you here? Oh, you're a new knitter. You'd love some advice on matching yarns to patterns. Yeah, well, this is the thing is, one of the things we do, Nola, she's saying she'd like some advice on matching yarns to patterns. It's really just experimenting as well. And I am a huge advocate for swap your bits with each other, swap your bits with each other. But because we've done that actually, I think we did that in Wardrobe Toolbox for one of our yarn swaps, and we swapped bits with each other so that you could just try a little bit, and you're not committing to a massive amount of yarn. And if you've got, oh, that one's attached to something. I've been working really hard. I've got all these things ready so I can have a bit of a break. If you've got a little bit of yarn like that, I don't know, you could do something with it, but you could also take it to your knitting group or send it to your knitting friend and say, hey, this is this yarn. I've got the label. I'll send it with it. Have a go with it. I'll see if you like it. This is a beautiful silk merino blend, and I just think, have you tried that for a sweater and see how it drapes, and have a go with some patterns and see what you think. That's a really good way of learning about yarn, just by feeling it in our hands. I think a lot of us are very tactile, so actually feeling it and seeing it grow on our needles goes a long way to understanding what things are going to do. And swatch, definitely swatch, because that you'll learn a lot just by swatching. And I was just telling my Wardrobe Toolboxes the other day, my mum did a swatch. She got some yarn for, did I tell you this already? Sometimes I forget whether I'm telling you or whether I'm telling the Wardrobe Toolboxes, although I know a lot of you are Wardrobe Toolboxes. She got some yarn the other day, and she was thinking of making a summer top, but she didn't know what top and what style. And I said, well, we can just make one up for you, so you don't have to be too worried about it, but you need to decide what you want to make. And I said, swatch it, because if we're going to make one up for you, we need to know what size your stitches are. But anyway, have a swatch, just knit a bit, just knit a square, because by the end of that, you will have a much better feel of what the yarn is going to do, how it feels, and in your head as you're knitting, an image of what you want to make will start appearing. Anyway, she cast it on, and she did what I told her, which is, she doesn't normally swatch. If she's watching, actually, I think she's gone out. She's probably not watching. But she didn't normally swatch, and she did do this swatch, but she didn't finish it because she got part the way through, and she said to me, oh, there's no way I can wear this. This is way too slinky. I would never wear a top this slinky. And she showed me a top she was wearing, and it was one of those sort of slubby linen tops, and she said, this is the fabric I like. I've realized I like this. It's slightly more dense, slightly more textured. It doesn't ripple. She doesn't want things to kind of ripple over her. She wants something that falls and has a drape, but not a ripply drape. And so she said, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to make something else with this. And so that was a really, really good experience for her. She didn't have to invest all this time and energy into knitting a pattern. She already had it. She already realized by just doing a little swatch. So that is what we can learn by just having a little swatch. I mean, I do it all the time. I love it. I love to talk, says Maureen. It started for me when I was a toddler. That's so nice. Kim says, I find that if I don't care for a yarn by itself, marling it with lace weight or other yarn really changes it. Yes, that is so true, Kim. And actually I'll tell you what, that leads me on to the next thing I wanted to talk to you about this week, because it is the end of the year. And I very rarely stop. I very rarely stop and think, wow, look all this stuff I've done. Every now and then I have an opportunity to pull things out, and I think, good gracious, I've knitted a lot in the last little while. I cannot believe how much I've made. But I thought, actually, I'll just pull things out, and I'll just stop for a minute, and I'll think, what actually happened this year? I don't really know what happened this year. It's been such a blur. But I thought I'll just have a think about what were the highlights of this year? What were the great things that happened? And there were lots of great things that happened this year. I started off the year with a trip to, this was March actually. It was all the way in March, but that's when I feel like my year started. I started off the year with a trip down to Knit and Gather, which is the new yarn festival that has started in Rangiora here in New Zealand, and I had such a lovely time. I really enjoyed it. I'm so looking forward to getting back again this March. I taught a couple of classes. I had a market. I had that absolute disaster because all the prints I'd ordered to take with me weren't ready in time because there was no paper, and I have, a card, and she had no card, I think, so she couldn't actually, absolutely crazy. So I turned up with no patterns. I just turned up with samples. I think I had about 10 patterns, something crazy. So I had my stand, but I just chatted to everyone, and I just had a lovely time and tried things on people. But it was being in contact with all of the knitters. There are lots of wardrobe toolboxes down there, so I got to go to a meetup for wardrobe toolbox, and it was so nice. I really enjoyed that, and that's sort of how my year began. But I thought, if I look at some of the stuff I've knitted this year, I thought there's some real highlights in the things I've knitted. And I was thinking about first of all, I had to think, what did I knit this year? What exactly did I make? So I had a look through, and I thought, wow, I actually think some of my favorite knits came out of this year. So I'll show you what they are. They are, for everybody who's not in Wardrobe Toolbox, I apologize in advance, but they're all Wardrobe Toolbox patterns. None of them are available yet. They will be available next year, but right now they're not. But I started the year with this one. I think this one came out in, I think it must have been June. Might have been June. I don't remember the actual time, but this was early in the year, before the beginning of the winter. And this is the Alex sweater, and I really enjoy. This was an absolute brain twister to design. It has these lovely shoulders, the slope shoulders at the back. I hadn't tried those before in a pattern, and I really wanted to incorporate that construction with a traditional set-in sleeve. I know a lot of people do a knitted in set-in sleeve. Well, I like a short row top down set-in sleeve, so I wanted to combine those two things, so I decided to do that. And I also wanted to have this V shape on all the sizes that hit you in roughly the same place. So that was a bit of a mathematical mind bend to make that happen down the pattern, and to make the pattern actually not crazy long. And my testers will know the agony that we went through to make it just perfect. So anyway, so Alex has got that little faux V. I wanted something that was warm but gave you the illusion of a bit of a V neck, so you didn't get too cold there. So it just gives you that nice line that we like down the front. And then she has a nice set-in sleeve and that comfy shoulder. And then I gave her semi-balloon sleeves, and so she has sort of full-ish sleeves, and then I pulled her in at the bottom with sort of some decreases and then a little I-cord cuff, and then the patterning picks up down the side as well. Look how pilled it is. I've worn this jersey a lot this winter. She is so lovely and comfy. So I'll put her on. It's really hot. I'll put her on just momentarily to show you, because she's so nice. But she's one of those jumpers that I just really enjoyed popping over the top of other stuff. And yeah, she's really just so comfy. I needed a jumper that can just go over whatever I was wearing. So this was her. So you can see the little shoulder here that sits back behind you. When you come to knit it, no, the top of your shoulder is actually there. So it can be a little confusing when you're doing it if you're used to a traditional shoulder that comes down the middle, because this shoulder is actually set back. But hopefully the instructions are pretty clear in there, so you know where to pick up along the top, because you pick up along the top. I did that nice little tailored short row shoulder, so you start picking up here, work your way around, and then do your short rows. But I've just absolutely loved it. And the sleeves are full-ish, but they're not too full, and so they don't sort of fall and everything. So my arms fill it out nicely at the top anyway. It doesn't actually go out, it actually just goes straight. So yeah, that is Alex. She's been a great jumper, and I used a skeins yarn called Eros, and it is I think it's merino, I've forgotten what the other blends, but it's got tencel in it, and so it gives it a lovely, just a bit of a sheen to it, but it gives it a really nice drape. So I was so pleased with that jumper. I loved her. It was one of the ones that I just think, oh yeah, that's great. That's a really great jumper, that one. Donna says, I really enjoyed knitting Alex, and I love wearing it. Yeah, she's a really good one to wear. That's a great one. So that was a really nice start to the year in terms of my designing, because I thought, oh, this is fun. It was really fun. Then I did this one, and I didn't expect to do this one, you know. I expected to do something else. And then as I was knitting, I made two of these versions of this top. This is Rita, and I just thought, I think I want to try something else with it too, because once I'd got one, I wanted another one. And because the gauge is so big, nice big fat needles, I decided to do something a little bit different. So it reminds me, the reason I was reminded about this is about holding yarn with something else. So I ended up holding 3 yarns together. So Rita is a vest top. She's got a nice long armhole. She's also got that little shaped shoulder at the back. The thing about this, the thing I found with this knit was I was really careful about the way I did increases and decreases and features like that, because the stitches are so big, and so you can't get away with anything. You will see all the problems if you aren't careful, because there's just so much stitch. You can't snug things in between tiny stitches. So I got you to pick up, I got you to pick up through a single leg around the neck, just so it's a little bit finer there and it's not so bulky. So there's lots of little tips like that. But this Rita is the second version in the pattern, and she is cropped. She is she's just a little shorty, and I wore her to pieces. She also needs a bit of a depil because she stops like up there. So she stops at the top of my trousers, and oh my gosh, she's just beautiful. And one of the things I loved about her was I used I'm pretty sure it was a Blueface Leicester. No, it wasn't a Polworth. I think it might actually be a Polworth. This pink. It's from Eden Cottage, who's a British dyer, but I'm pretty sure it's a yarn from this end of the world. So I'm pretty sure it's a Polworth, I think. Anyway, that was the DK. And then I held it with a fingering weight yarn that had cashmere in it. Absolutely beautiful. And then I held it with a lace weight yarn, which is all speckly all over. The other two were sort of semi-solids, and then the lace weight yarn was sort of speckly, so it gives it a bit of visual interest. And that was a silk merino. So can you imagine how beautiful this is to wear? The fabric you create is lovely and stretchy, and it's just heavenly, heavenly soft. So she was one between that and that Alex jumper. These were ones that I just grabbed a lot over the winter just to throw over things, and I really liked wearing this over a shirt or something, just to give me that extra layer of warmth. So is the pattern out? Is it out? Not yes, it is, but only for Wardrobe Toolbox. So it's in there. Oops, it is. I just go in the sleeve. It's in Wardrobe Toolbox at the moment. It'll be out next year, I think. Or maybe this was, I've lost track of what month was what. That might have been, oh, maybe Alex was at the end of the year. Maybe Alex was February and this was June. I think that's right. Alex might have been February, and then yeah, this was June. So it'll be out for New Zealand winter next year, this one. But she's super cute. So the other version is in an electric green. It's in this colour. It's actually this yarn. This one. It's this beautiful lime from Manos, and that is a Corriedale yarn. It's lovely and round, but it's quite a different feel to it, and it's got a lot more structure to it. And so that one I've knitted longer. It's the same sort of patterning at the top with this little stitches through, but I carry that into the hem, and it's got a dropped hem at the back and a high hem at the front and a split up the side. So it's a different sort of jumper. I wore them both, but I did wear this one more. I love the stretchiness of this one. It was just easy peasy, and oh, it's kitten soft, absolutely soft. Oh, good, you wait. Yeah, it's in Wardrobe Toolbox. Now, the thing about Wardrobe Toolbox is when you join and you are a new member, the old patterns are available to you, but you will have to buy them. But they come at a discount. I mean, you'll always get them on a really good discount in there. So that's how we do that. Then October rolled round, and I had a lot of requests to do brioche in Wardrobe Toolbox, people wanting to learn about brioche. And so I thought, all right, now is the time. I'd put it off for a long time. I knew how to do some basic brioche stitches, but I'd never actually knitted anything big in brioche. And I was really nervous about doing a pattern in brioche because I just thought, I don't have time to rip it out. I don't have time to fix all my mistakes, because I hear that people make all these mistakes all the time. I don't have time for that. So I put it off. And then I don't know what happened. I just decided, yep, suck it up, Libby, just do it. So I did it. And so I got in that month that we had in October, we had a couple of people that came in and did like a little masterclasses for us. We had one of our lovely, lovely members had offered to do a masterclass for me ages ago on brioche. because she had learned how to do it herself, and so she just walked us through sort of her journey. So it was a really nice way for new brioche knitters to feel like, yeah, I can do that too. And then we also had Ethan from Get Flocked, and he came in and he did an advanced brioche session. So all in all, it was a really good month, I think, for brioche lovers or people that wanted to be brioche lovers. So this is the pattern that I made, and she's called Spring Fling, and I just love this pattern. I absolutely love this pattern. So she's a crescent shawl, and she uses 3 colors of yarn and really simple brioche techniques. You do straight brioche and you do a brioche increase, and that is it. You don't do any fancy brioche. There are 3 increases that you will do, but I've got tutorials for all of them. So and they're not hard. Once you've mastered them, you're good to go. And then she's finished with these little crescents at the bottom, just with short rows and an I-cord. We do this I-cord all the way down the side. And yeah, I just was so pleased with her. She worked out beautifully. So she gives you a bit of a breather. You've got brioche, have brioche and then a bit of a break, and then brioche and a bit of a break, like that, so you can punctuate it. And so it's a great one for fudging, actually, because if you get to here, these eyelet rows, and you find you're out, your stitches aren't quite working, you just create a few more in the eyelet, and then you carry on as you're going down. So it gives you a night. You don't have to rip back too often. I mean, you can. We did learn how to do that sort of stuff. But so she's a lovely big crescent shawl, and I used 2 hedgehog fibres yarns for this one for that yellow, and then the cream is actually a speckled one called Cereal. Now my one is way more cream than the cereal versions I see out there now. They're quite apricot, and this definitely has an apricot hue to it, but it's not apricot like they are now, but you can see the colours better. This is the back. So that is that fool's gold. It's a beautiful, just beautiful yellow. I loved it. And then I put it with this, I had some Le Bain Ami in my stash, and that's just a single merino. These are their super soft sock yarn from Hedgehog Fibres. So that's the back, so you can see the brilliance of the colours, but on the front it's all just toned down a little bit with that cream that runs all over. So I love it. I was so pleased. When I finished it, I thought, wow, I love that shawl. She's simple. She's just a really simple idea, but she's hugely effective. And the people have, people that have made it just in some beautiful versions. Charlotte said, I've just finished my Spring Fling. That one was called Spring Fling. I'm going to look at how to block tomorrow. I'm not sure whether to hard block it or not. I love knitting it, and I learned loads about brioche. Oh, yes. Well, that was the idea. I thought, one of the things in Wardrobe Toolbox is we have such a range of abilities now. And we've got people that came in 5 years ago, because it's almost 5 years. It'll be our 5-year anniversary in March or April. People came in 5 years ago who were at the level that people are coming in now, but they've been there 5 years, and so their knitting is completely transformed in that time. And things don't always happen overnight. You don't actually realize how much has changed until you look back. And I was talking to someone about it the other day, and just thinking about how, I kind of hadn't appreciated that this person hadn't felt uber confident to do anything with their garments, or just knew some basic things, because their knitting is so amazing now, and their confidence is so high, and making fantastic garments with tons of changes to them. And so I think over time it's like a slow burn, because it's very hard to absorb a lot of information in a very short period of time. You just can't retain it. But anyway, the slow burn has meant that I've got people who are reasonably advanced now, who are doing such cool things and really feeling like, okay, I've got a pattern, I'm going to put in a few bust darts here, and I'm going to make some shaping down, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to change that, and I know my body does this. And I've got people coming in as well who are new, who are absolutely new. And so trying to balance that when I'm putting out patterns is challenging, but I do strongly feel, like I don't even feel it, I just know it. You can do it. If you put your mind to it, you can do pretty much anything you want. So when I put out the brioche shawl and the next top, which I'll show you, I knew that they would be a little bit challenging, but but they're not overly, it's not brain surgery. And so I knew people could do it. I absolutely know you could do it. And I think some of what I do is I give you a simple structure and then just layer on a few interesting things. And so, yeah, I like that about it. Terry says it sounds like a great time for a party, 5 years. It does, doesn't it, Terry? How are we going to do that? I think we have to have a party. 5 years. 5 years. It's just gone so fast. We're in season 10 right now. We're about to go into season 11. So I finished the year with a pattern that just came out in December. Yes, this month. Gosh, you see, I don't know what's happened to the time. This is the latest pattern to come out, and I haven't worn it on here. I don't think I've showed you. Maybe I have showed you. This is Sweet Melody, and she is a little t-shirt top that I knitted in a Blueface Leicester, Superwash Blueface Leicester, and silk. And we did a whole lesson this month about summer yarns, and I've swatched shoulders summer yarns, and we talked about summer yarns and the difference between the protein fibers and all the cellulose fibers and regenerated cellulose fibers, and we thought about how they behaved, and hopefully it's given everybody just a little bit, I don't know, just a little bit more enthusiasm to have a go with some different things and also make sense of what is out there, because there is so much out there now. So Spring Fling is a different construction. She pulls on things I've done before, but she was different again. So she's top down. I started by working this little shoulder panel at the top, one for each side. So you'll remember I've done that before. In Nula, I've done that. In Serpentine, I've done that. In Paloma, I've done that. I like that shoulder panel. And to me, it was reminiscent of what I do here. It echoes that sort of feel of that shoulder, because it's that part. Hang on, where am I looking here? It's that part here in the shoulder. We just created a different way in this garment, and we do it in a with our short rows on our shoulders in the just the old school kind of top down set and sleeve. We would do that shoulder, but this has even more of a hugginess over your shoulder. I did it in Rebel was probably the one where I really puddled it on your shoulder quite nicely with those short rows, but this is another way of doing it. So it puddles on your shoulder, and it just feels great on your shoulder. And then what we do is we come back and we pick up the stitches for the back first, along the back, and do a couple of little rows, and then we join them under the neck, work down, and then we do it the same for the front, and we work our neck increases, and then it's got a set in sleeve like we like to do, just for a nice fit, and this little pretty bird pattern all over the front. So it's just really, really pretty. And I've finished it with the PK edge. I've got this folded hem at the cuffs and a folded hem at the bottom. And the neck, I love the neck. This neck took me quite a few goes. And if you are worried about how much you rip your patterns, be reassured that I do too. I made this neck quite a few times. And in the end, because I wanted it to sit flat, which it does. I wanted it to sit flat against you. I didn't want it to pop out. And I did a few different ways of doing it to try and get it to sit as flat as I could. And in the end, I went back to the sewing things I knew. And I thought about putting a band on a t-shirt. And I found a rule, because I was thinking, what is the rule? What is the rule? There must be a rule on if you've got neck back, because often we just get the fabric and then we stretch it out and then we cut a bit off and we just make it fit and it all feels right. And I needed a rule. I needed some sort of method where I knew that many stitches into this area would mean it would give you the right tensioning that you needed without being too tight. And it turns out that there is a bit of a loose rule, and it's about reducing stitches for a percentage number of stitches around the neck. And I actually can't remember what it is now. It's something like 25%. So I did that. And what I did was I got you to pick up all the stitches around the neck as you would if you were just doing pretty much one for one. So we picked up, just for a regular neck, I got you to pick up the stitches. And then on the next row, because we knitted it, we picked them up from the wrong side and then we knitted inside out. I actually got you on that next row in, I don't know if you'll be able to see, to do decreases. And we decreased away, I think it was about 25% of the stitches. So it was a radical decrease for our neck. And I was, okay, let's do it. Let's try this. Because one of the things was, unlike a regular rolled hem, I had the PK, and the PK wanted to flare like that, and so I needed to mitigate the flaring of the PK. So it was all in all, it was a little bit of a mathematical exercise, but it worked, and I went down masses of needles. And so you do a tiny needle to make these little teeny tiny stitches, and then you fold it outwards, and then you stitch it down, and then you get that lovely detail, and it looks quite polished. And it's a little fiddly, it's just a little bit. To get the finish you want, you just work carefully. I used these little clips to clip it down all the way around, and then I stitched it all down. And I think that was the highlight of my year, actually, that neckline. I was so pleased with it, because I kept putting it on thinking, drat, I haven't quite got it. It's not quite right. And thinking, no, I'm just going to do it again. I'm just going to do it again. You know, so often, I was actually thinking this morning, so often, just when you think you're at your most despairing and you can't possibly try something again, or you have to do it again, or something hasn't worked, that's what we all do, I think, in knitting all the time. And I think it's such good practice, because I think, okay, deep breath, just do it again. Just do it again. It's going to be fine. You have got it in you. You can do it again. And I have learnt that from knitting a lot. So my neckline was my highlight of my year, I think. And this little top, I absolutely love her. So she's Sweet Melody. So she is the most recent release in Wardrobe Toolbox. So she is the one that is last coming out next year to everybody else. But if you are in Wardrobe Toolbox next year, of course, you'll have access to her. I have worn her already. It's got a bit hot today to be wearing her, but I've worn her quite a bit over the last few weeks. So she's so pretty. And one of the things I like about her is you could really dress her up, and you could really dress her down depending on what yarn you make her with, which is why we had our lesson about summer yarn. So that was all of the fun things that happened. I had also other fun things. You know, I've got more people that have joined me in the team on Wardrobe Toolbox, and we had a chance to get together recently, which was so nice, just to actually have everybody there so they could all meet each other and know that, oh, you're so-and-so. And even though we live in all different parts of the country, we could all come together, and it's just nice to know that I'm talking to you, and you're the one on the end of that email. Then when we have our Zoom meetings, although you get to know people quite well, actually, there's nothing quite like being together. Oh, Ginger Bliss also came out this year. Claire, totally forgot about Ginger Bliss. That came out this year as well. Yeah, Ginger Bliss was the first or second one I did with that little shoulder. I think she must have been the second one I did with that little shoulder. Oh, crumbs, I can't remember now. I think this was the first one that I did with a little shoulder. Basically, 2025 has been quite a blur of a year. A lot has happened this year. I have done a lot. I have just thrown myself into everything to do with Wardrobe Toolbox and Truly Myrtle. I have had a really good time doing it. I did quite a bit of traveling through the year for various things. I've been in hospital with people more times than I care to remember. Not for myself at all, but for I think 5 other people. I was in and out of hospital with them, so that was challenging. That up until the middle to end of the year, and but somehow miraculously, Alex was first. Oh, thank you, Claire. Alex was first with the shoulders, then Ginger Bliss, then Rita. But it's been a really good year. It has actually been a good year, and I am feeling like 2025. I just feel like it's going to be fun next year. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So I thought I'd show you a couple of things that I was going to try over the summer when I go into the hopefully the kind of time warp of January, where I'll be jumping on some Wardrobe Toolbox calls, but a lot of stuff that I needed to do for January and February are already done. So I've just hopefully taken the pressure off myself so that I can have a proper break in January and not be panicked about getting back. And I've got some yarn that I'm dying to cast on. I've got some sewing I'm dying to do. I've got some cleaning that I really have to do, and some sorting out around here, and some gardening I want to do. And oh my gosh, I can't wait to do it all. But I thought I'd show you first. Now, you remember that I was making a cardigan. I am making a cardigan for spring, because I got to the point in spring where it was too warm, late in spring, it was too warm to wear some of my jumpers, but I wanted something that was loose, that would just go over everything, a bit like my Outlaw cardigan, but not heavy, not a DK weight or a worsted weight, which that one is, even though it's got the finer sleeves. I wanted a lighter weight, and I wanted it to be soft, just so soft. So I played around. I showed you already, I got some of this Isia, that's the alpaca one. Hang on, I've got that, and I've also got this one. I got these two, Divini and alpaca one, and I swatched those together, and I showed you that already, and it's just not as soft as I want it. It's not as soft. It is a beautiful fabric, but it's not going to be as soft as I'm thinking. And it won't have, look, it sort of creases. It doesn't have the kind of drape I want. And I don't really want to go up a needle size in it too much more. So I've parked that idea, and I was on the hunt for something else. And I was out the other day, and I got this. And that is Rowan Fine Lace, and the colour is this one. Remember how this one turned up, and I sort of thought, oh my word, that is Candy Floss. The pink, that one turned up, and it's quite pink. But that one, in comparison, it's more like the top I'm wearing, it was also another top I made this year. I love this top. That's what's it called again? Someone will remind me what these tops are. I need to make some more. Anyway, I got this, and it is Baby Suri alpaca and fine merino, fine lace. And I thought, ooh la la, that is really lovely. I think that is what I'm thinking of. And I'll join it with something else. Now, I have already got this, which is the alpaca, the one I had before, the alpaca one from Isia. That one, alpaca one. I've already got that one. It's colour 61. This is colour 921, if you're interested. They have quite an apricot pink. This is more of a blue pink, so I liked this one a bit better, but this is actually quite apricot pink when I look at it now. But anyway, I've got the alpaca one, and I will swatch it with that because I love, can you see, I don't know if you're going to be able to see, I couldn't have quite as high a clarity as I wanted on my call today, because I think that the internet company is throttling us because we have so many people here and our internet usage is through the roof, and they've told us that we're using the internet unreasonably. So they're throttling out, I'm sure they are, because everything's going so slow. But anyway, it has got, I'll describe it for you, it has got grey alpaca all the way through it. So it's like a chilled out, like, you know, pretty chilled out kind of alpaca. I really like it. So I will swatch it with that, although the colour is just slightly not right. So I'm not sure how it'll look. It could look utterly beautiful. I will swatch it with that. But I also got this, which is Rowan's Kid Silk Haze. And that is Super Kid Mohair and Silk. And that one is the same. It has actually got, I don't know if it's in it. I think it's not in it. I think it's just the shadows. I don't think it's got the grey in it. But it is the same kind of pink as that. And I think maybe that would be just beautiful. This might create the look I'm going for. And I know I wasn't thinking of doing mohair. I was thinking of sticking with the alpaca because it would be fine. But I'm not sure. That's my plan anyway. So this is something I'm going to swatch over the next few weeks. I'm going to do some swatches with those two, and I'll do some swatches with those two. And then at the end of that, I'll have a much better sense of the fabric that I want, so that because I already have an idea of the pattern in my head, but I need to make sure that it actually, I can get the fabric that I want to bring it to life. I'm sort of doing it slightly different way round. Sometimes I do that. I think of the pattern and then I find fabric, and other times I think of get the fabric and then I dream up the pattern to go with it. Eros. Yes, the wool I used, Maureen. I used Eros from Skeins, Maureen, for that Alex jumper. This one. It's beautiful, beautiful yarn. You can see it's a bit pilly and it creases, but it really needs a good deep pill. You can see how pilled that is. But I think it'll wear off with time, and it is deliciously soft. It's really soft. There's just not a scratchy bone in its body. It's absolutely divine yarn for a good price too, actually. From Skeins with a Z, Eros yarn. 5 ply, 55 merino, 25 alpaca, 10 possum, 10 tencel. Yeah, it's really nice. And it was interesting when we did our lesson in Wardrobe Toolbox about the summer yarns. Tencel was an interesting one, and it's actually this one. Tencel is the brand name for lyocell, and this yarn here, which I have already swatched, done a little swatch, is also from Isia, and it's called Trio 2. I think this might have jumped in my cart when I was getting something else and I just couldn't resist it. So that's just how it happens sometimes. This is 50 linen, 30 cotton, 20 lyocell. Look, I don't know if you're going to see, the sheen on that is next level. This is utterly beautiful. It really is beautiful yarn. And I swatched up this much. I just swatched up a bit to get a feel of it, and I used a reasonably tight gauge because it was quite holey, and I think actually I quite like it in that gauge. I'll let it, it's been sitting for quite a few weeks now, so it's probably done its thing, but I think it might be a little bit see-through. Yeah, well, look, it is actually quite see-through, but I think that'll be fine for a summer top. And at the same time I got this because I thought I could just imagine a little bit of colour work, even if it's slip stitch colour work. I'll have to try both just to see the density of the fabric and how it works, but it would certainly give a good hang to the garment if it was at the bottom. I'm thinking at the bottom of it, and have a little bit of the charcoal with that. Won't that be nice? I think that'll be really, really, really nice. So I'll try it and see. So that's another one on my list of things that I want to try. I still have those other 2 jumpers I'm still working on. I'm working on 3 things at the moment. Obviously this next little while is going to be a lot of knitting for me, which I am quite excited about actually. So that is I'm itching to try that, although I know that lovely Ethan from Get Flocked, I saw that he sent me a parcel the other day, and I think it's going to arrive today, and it is the yarn that I have been dying to get hold of for ages, and so I'm thinking, oh no, I've got that as well. Absolutely beautiful. So I'm looking forward to his parcel arriving. I'll show you when it comes. The other day when I was out and getting this, and I saw that, I actually saw this, and I'd seen this. I must have got the email. I went to Ribbon Rose in Penrose, a beautiful big shop. If you come to Auckland, that shop is well worth going to, and it's over 3 floors. It's just so lovely. And I get their emails, and I saw that they had this in stock, and this is I don't know how to say that. Tyne Lean from Sandisgarn, and I saw they had that in, and I thought, oh yeah, I want to try that, because it is a 53% cotton, 33% viscose, 14% linen. So I don't know when they say viscose what exactly the plant is. It'll be some sort of tree fibre, but that cornflower blue, we did that. I was with all the the Truly Myrtle and Wardrobe Toolbox team. We went to Ribbon Rose and had a look, and then got some lunch. And I think this colour will be good though. We did it over the colour, didn't we? And we weren't sure. And I think, Claire, did you get the orange in the end? It was a beautiful burnt orange, but it wasn't quite burnt enough for me. And some of the others would wash me out. They were pretty pastel. But this cornflower, I think, will be really pretty. So I got enough. I got a bag of it. It's all in the bag here. Look, I got enough to swatch and make a summer top, so I'm quite keen to have a bash with that as well. That's another one. I'll see. I think this will be, I'll do the other things first. I'm a little bit nervous about having a million things swatched and then not being able to get back to them, and then my something happening in my gauge or being out. But I will I'm really keen to see what this feels like in my hands, because it feels really soft, and I think that viscose in it has just added a little extra. It's got that lovely sheen to it that the viscose gives. So that'll be fun. So those are my fun. Yes, I got the corally orange colour, says Claire. Yeah, she did. It was really pretty. It's her colour. It looks so good. So those are my thoughts for things that I would like to get stuck into in early 2026, and a bit of a wrap up of what some of certainly my knitting highlights were in 2025. And roll on 20, I'm already a year ahead now, 2024. Do you remember when you were a kid and you used to get so excited about writing a new year in your book, and you'd write the old year and then you'd think, oh gosh, it's the new year. It was always so exciting. Now I'm just like blasting through those years. Terry said, the 50 linen, 50 cotton from Miro yarns that I'm knitting into a summer V-neck is beautiful and so soft and easy on the hands. Oh, good, Terry. There's another one for me to try. I have this urgent desire to have a lot of summer tops. Urgent desire to do more and more knitted summer tops. I don't know why. Is it because I'm hot all the time? It could be. My thermostat is completely up the wop. Mr. Myrtle would say. Sarah says, it's a little hen, which I actually have got yarn from you too, Sarah. It's some beautiful, beautiful cottons I got from Sarah. I've got quite a bit of yarn that I bought from you, Sarah, that I really need to get into patterns. She said, it's fun having lots of yarns lined up for projects and swatching. It is so much fun. And if I can find a balance between having these deadlines that I'm really conscious of and that creative, expansive creative feeling, that is my goal for 2025. I keep thinking, what do I want for 2025? I want to feel expansive. Here's my postie, probably with the yarn from Ethan in the postie box. But I just want to feel expansive. I want to feel like that's just what I feel. I just want to feel expansive. So that's my plan for next year. You know how people pick a word? Maybe that should be my word for next year. All right, everybody. It has been such a delight to talk to you every week in 2024, all through the year. I love getting to know you. I really feel like I get to know so many of you. And when I meet you, it's just like I already know you. It's so nice. So thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much for supporting and buying all my patterns and joining Wardrobe Toolbox and coming and learning with me. It is such a thrill. Have a really, really Merry Christmas. Enjoy the summer of yarn. Don't forget, the first one will be out next week on Wednesday, the Boxing Day, 26th. Thursday is Boxing Day. It'll be out 10 a.m. And keep an eye out in your inbox because I'll send you an email and say, it's live, it's there. And then cross your fingers that technology works for us. And I will see you live at the end of January, the last week of January, I'll be back. But in the meantime, enjoy the summer of yarn. Enjoy your Christmas. Enjoy your families. Have a lovely, lovely break if you're having one. For those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, enjoy the sunshine. The rest of you curl up and get knitting. All right, everybody. I will see you next year in 2025. Happy knitting.